Hey everybody, it's ElectroLlama. I'm here with another campaigns video. This one is called Beyond Kerbin. Last time we sent some satellites into different Kerbin orbits, but this time the Kerbiets and the Kerbicans face off to explore the moon, Minimus, and Kerbin's closest planets, Eve and Duna. The Kerbiet Union send up the first satellite to visit Moon, which is the Muna 1. Muna 1 has some communications, some simple instruments, and the rocket itself is a two-stage rocket with a smaller rocket on top and a larger booster on the bottom, which sends it into Kerbin orbit. Attach some fins for stability. The Muna 1's original mission is to impact the moon, or at least try to get as close as possible to it, and take measurements as it's approaching moon. And here's the launch. And if you've seen the previous videos, I've used a whole cam, but that mod wasn't working for this video, so I won't be having any of those shots. So instead of doing the usual orbiting and then doing a home in transfer, I decided to do a straight transfer directly from Kerbin to Moon. And in real life, the real life Muna 1 actually didn't impact the moon. So that's what this one's going to do. It's going to miss by approximately the diameter of the moon. Then the Kerbiets send up Muna 2 in order to try to impact the moon again. This time it has a few more instruments attached to it. Other than the probe, it has pretty much the same booster stage. Here's the launch. This time I started from orbit and then transferred. So setting up maneuver nodes, trying to get a good impact. Here it is taking measurements close to the moon's surface. Here you see an impact. I think this is a bug in map view. It's not supposed to show an actual explosion, but whatever. Then the Kerbiet Union set out the same probe again, which is the Muna 3. And this one has a camera attached to it and is designed to take pictures of the far side of Moon, which was not previously visible from Kerbin because it's tidally locked. And the Muna 3 actually got a fairly close approach to Minmus, so I was able to take some photos of that as well. Next, the Kerbiet Union sends off the Minima 1, which is a probe designed to fly by Minmus, and try to get some good photos of that as well. Here's a composite video from the photos taken of Minimus. And here's a photo of Minimus. You can see different features. You can see the highlands, the mountains, and then the flat plains, which I'll explore in a later episode. The Kerbicans were also hard at work designing the Kerbiner 2 to fly by Eve. This probe carries scientific instruments and some scanning to scan for the surface of Eve. Here's a short tutorial part. So in order to calculate the delta V that's contained in the rockets, you use the simple rocket equation, which I sort of outlined here. Now ISP and the thrust can be found when you're actually designing the rocket. It's one of the descriptions for the rockets themselves. And so as you can see, I have enough delta V to reach Eve, provided that I do all my burns correctly. And then I set up maneuver nodes, figure out how much delta V it has, and then I compare it, and it seems pretty reasonable. And then, so when it's in orbit, it's not actually at the optimum time to transfer to Eve. So what I do is I figure out the closest approach using the maneuver nodes, and then I do some basic calculations that I've outlined here to see how many days I should wait before I should start launching. Alright, so I go ahead and launch after waiting 67 days, so it wasn't a very efficient burn, but I was able to get there without too much trouble. There we go, set up the encounter. Alright, so the Kerbicans probe, Kerbiner 2, finally approaches Eve. Once it gets close to Eve, it does a scan of Eve's surface, and this will potentially be used for later missions to Eve. Next, the Kerbicans designed the Kerbiner 4. This time they're going to try to fly by Duna and do the same sort of scan. Here you see it launching. Different stages. So here's kind of the condensed versions of the calculations from before. This time I made sure to compare to the circumference, as you see by the value for d divided by c. Let me know in the comments section if you have any questions on this. I can probably do a tutorial if you guys need me to. And here you find out that I should wait in orbit for 34 days. And so I do that, and then I actually do the transfer. Here's a video of the flyby of Duna. And I actually forgot to do the scanning of Duna's surface, so I guess it would be like the scanning mechanism failing. Then the Kerbiet Union decides to try to land on Eve, trying to one-up the Kerbicans. And so it designs the Venera 3. Here's a launch of the Venera 3. Here's another set of calculations that I had to do. And then to figure out when I actually had to launch, I used the Kerbal alarm clock mod. If you don't already have this mod, I highly suggest it, because it has a lot of cool features like automatically figuring out when you should launch to transfer with different planets, and also it sets up reminders for different burns that you have to do. It's definitely useful when you have multiple missions going at the same time. So I went ahead and did the launch, and I happened to actually set up moon gravity assist, which was kind of interesting. Usually the gravity assists are more of a pain than a help, but this one just happened to be set up perfectly. When the Venera 3 entered Eve's atmosphere, it was designed to sort of aerobrake. So in the actual mission, the probes are still attached to the engine, so that the engine can kind of protect the probe from overheating. But as you can see from this video, that didn't really work very well. So instead of soft landing on Eve, the Venera 3 burned up in atmosphere. That's the end of this episode. In the next episode, the Kerbicans and the Kerbiet Union will be facing off to send Kerbals into space to try to prepare for the first moon landing. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, put some comments in the comment section, and include any ideas that you have for any tutorial videos if you'd like one of those. This has been ElectroLlama, and I'll see you guys next time.